I know you don't make me lead off, you know.
It's all good. I could lead off if you want to lead off. Okay.
Yeah, I don't clean up.
Who's the best lead off hitter, man? Who known for leading off? I try and think of a
Man,
good leader.
me, Mookie Betts.
Who, who, who is the leader for the Braves? Chuck Knobloch or one of them
Kenny
dudes?
Lofton,
Yeah, I guess. That's to show you how much I don't watch. I don't watch
Marquise
sports.
Grissom.
Let's see.
Yeah.
Jira win a lead off? Oh, he
Yeah,
was
for a
tall.
little while, and he went to like a 2 hole.
I can't remember.
Yeah.
Anyway, join the live. Join the live. Caribbean currency. I know what time it is. Currency exchange. We live, we live, we live. Share the live, share the live, share the live, man. Again,
So
man.
everything good. You know, losing some more weight. You know what I mean? You see the neckline coming in.
Last week we were at couple ounces. We reach
Exactly.
any pounds yet?
Pong now. I bought a pong now.
A pound. A
Yeah, I
cool
bought a
pong.
pong. I
I
bought a
tell you
good
what's
pong.
good.
Bought a good pong now.
A
Yeah, I bought a
cool
good
pong
pong.
was good.
Yeah. I don't
But
want
that's good. Congrats. Congrats. That's
Yeah, you know, I working hard at it, you know what I mean? Drinking my little vinegar, eating my fruits, etc.
great.
Having a
Any
lot
type
of
of working out? Or no?
sex,
When you reach the fire.
sex only. Sex is the only
Ah,
workout you need.
I
You
feel.
check?
That's what we're
Yeah.
designed for.
Yeah, exactly. I don't know
I
why
got
people
you.
are being in the gym. You know, juniors are being in the gym now every day, hours, boasting. I put on 2 extra plates. I pumping this. I like, yo, bro, we
And
don't
already
care.
you just finish a session.
Yeah,
And you
that's
can't
it.
afford
You know what I mean? 5 minutes, 300 calories. You in the gym for an hour.
So in 5 minutes you burn 300 calories. That's
300
a
calories.
calories in 5 minutes then.
Yeah, pump fast.
That song here like effective for real though. So in 5 minutes, 300 calories, in 10 minutes, that's
Hey,
what? A total,
who
600
making it to
calories,
you 10? Nobody making it to 10.
10. You will have a that one.
Five and we done, bro. We don't gotta do get shit to do, you know. You don't make money during sex, you gotta go, gotta get shit to do.
Wrap this shit up, listen.
You
We
know,
gotta start doing
you know,
some money
yeah.
making activity.
Yeah, you wrap it up for real.
5 minute exercise, listen. Start the day off right. 5 minutes, 300 calories.
Saturday, right? Yeah.
Duly noted. Duly noted, listen.
Hey,
Anyways, I'll
join
share
the
the link.
live, share the live, join the live, share the live. It's every Monday, 7 p.m. Caribbean currency. We'll be doing a live. It's called the currency exchange. We're gonna talk about different topics. It's a topic that he didn't put on the docket. I'm gonna try to squeeze it in, but we get some other stuff that's more relevant and important to the Virgin Islands. So share the live as much as you can. Let people know we here. Have a quick, candid conversation about certain things. We might disagree. We might agree. I think the things we that disagree on, we don't disagree on it publicly. And it's not a lot, but there's definitely stuff
But
we see differently.
what I love about
They
us is
just
we
don't ever come, they just don't ever be on the forefront publicly though. I feel like
true.
if it on the internet public, did I see us disagreeing? You know
Facts.
what I mean? But the issues that we do disagree on don't ever really be on the internet.
Facts. So here, this is you guys' chance to actually see us disagreeing and having discourse about what it is we're talking about and stuff. Because believe it or not, we don't see things 100% the same all the time. But the most
Right.
important thing is perspective and respecting somebody else's perspective. And that'll be the
Right.
problem. People feel like once you disagree with somebody, it's wire and it's vibes. No, I
Mhm.
might not see it from your perspective. So when you show me your perspective, oh shit, that make more sense. I didn't even check that out. Or you might see my perspective and be like, well, damn, you're right. I didn't even check that out. So it ain't necessarily about who's right and who's wrong. It's
And
necessarily about exchanging perspectives. Go ahead.
you don't even have to see my perspective. You know what I
Facts.
mean? Like I just share my perspective with you. Hey, look, we might be in a heated debate, and I might go chill and change my mind just thinking back at the conversation. I might not change my mind within the conversation.
Yeah,
Purpose is to just put a perspective out there,
yeah. Fact,
feel how they want to feel about it, and then
fact.
like it's not trying to like. I never trying to win an argument. I just try
Yeah,
and put what I think is the facts out,
fact.
or what I know to be the facts out, and then you
Yeah,
do what you mean. And it don't change
mhm.
my mind about you if you don't agree with me. Like
Facts. Yeah,
it's just a thought.
fact,
You know what I mean? So
fact, fact, fact. So I come in, man. Share the live. Let's talk Caribbean currency, currency exchange. Tonight we're gonna talk about two topics. We're gonna talk about um. I know there was a lot of chatter last week, week before. The
yeah.
governor had come out. He would do a he did a I think like there was a he had an event and
Hmm.
he was talking and they had asked him certain things and he was like, well, we should just verbally and this ain't nothing official. He had just was like stating that the economy tough, ain't gonna get no easier. We need to start doing something drastic to really boost revenue. And one of the things was taxing Airbnbs. One of the things that he proposed was taxing Airbnbs.
Right.
Um, Another thing he proposed was taxing taxing online goods. And that's an interesting that's gonna be an interesting conversation because we don't just hear the word tax and
Right.
we don't understand all the nuances behind it. The
Right.
reason why taxes are important
Hmm.
and who the taxes protect, you know?
Yeah. Yeah.
So
Yeah.
all of that we're gonna jump into tonight. Um yeah, let's giving it a few more so folks will come in and jump in and see what's going on. Um but yeah, share the live, man. Share the live, share the live,
Shit.
share the live.
Yeah. Get in here now.
And for my ATL folks, we are working on a ATL Well Building Gala summer 2025. All these stages are that. Still working on sorting
That's
vibes
a
and trying to figure it out.
that sound like a good thing. I
Yeah, that's gonna be
drinking
a vibe.
Modelo and I listening.
You
Okay.
doing what?
So they said they're drinking Modelo and they listening.
Oh, nice. Nice.
Tell a
Hello.
friend to tell a friend to tell a friend to tell a friend to tell some more friends that we're alive.
Hello, you said.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, Santo. Santo don't drink Modelo.
And I doubt he's a Santo.
Shout out I'm a Modelo drinkers. Um, Come on, guys. Oh God. Let me put this thing and do not disturb.
I,
Like,
I I was on it.
I know. Do not
Yeah, three,
disturb.
4 times. Get me.
I know.
Kyle froze. We waiting on Kyle because he froze.
I'm here, guys. I'm here. I had to
Okay, you
put my
back?
phone
You
and
back?
do not disturb. People were calling me. Damn,
I
I
was
saw
like,
if
you
you're here
froze.
watching the live on my computer and I saw I look frozen. Jeez, I'm pretty
Yeah, y'all look goofy bad. I ain't even gonna lie to you. Yeah,
crazy a
rough.
ghost. All right. You ready to kick this thing off, bro?
I ready for you to talk about it.
um, before we just Kish asked who we discussing Candace Owens and how your mouth could cost you money.
Who
Kish, we
said
go
it?
talk. Kishma, Belado. She was asking if we discussing Candace Owens and how your mouth could cost you money.
I think
I ain't
your
hear
mouth
Candace
of
Owens. Huh?
kindness. I don't think. I mean, money is your God or your
Yeah,
conviction and
but you
what you
could
stand.
exactly. What the thing?
You know what I mean?
My only issue, hey, Candace Owens a smart woman. Them. My only issue with Candace Owens ever has only been Politics and all of that stuff, people believe what they believe, and that's her convictions. She's
Right.
so smart. My only issue that I had with her was how she had feel about the George Floyd by when she was, trying to downplay it and make it seem like there wasn't a big of a deal, and that was frustrating to me because they're like, "Candice, come on, you smarter than that. You see what
So
going
here,
on here."
so here I get out, right? And this is where like me and you that like differ in a sense. People want you, first of all, somebody going step on the neck right now from the
Yeah,
police. Probably dead yesterday. But the media ain't pick it up and make you emotional about it.
yeah,
So after you get emotional about it, you then want Candice to be empathetic about something that she knows is happening either on a regular or black people doing it to black people more than white people doing it to black people. So you want her to be in that emotional space with you. So
mhm,
I can't agree with Candice. If Candice feel like the officer wasn't wrong, then me and Candice disagree. I feel like the
yeah,
officer was. But I ain't getting no emotional uproar about nothing, especially when you have a criminal past. Listen to me, right? When I sitting down in a car seat and I waited for the police to come, I could only imagine what he thinking about it now.
yeah,
Because he can't see nothing. He don't know who I is. He don't know why and
mhm,
me and 10. So
yeah,
like we argue about it 1,000 times over. I just that be on Kanye's side because before you start to think about checking other people about how they're dealing with you, you need to be thinking about it's like
each other.
you treating your wife bad in the house, right? Or she getting treated bad in the house, but she ain't saying nothing about that. But she gonna go out there and some random person gonna treat her bad and know she's super his. You guys slap up in the house.
Yeah,
How you ain't saying nothing? So for me, when it comes to black people, it's like we slapping each other around. So
mhm,
why are you telling about this random white? I mean, not random, like it happened. But
yeah,
what I
yeah,
want people to know, not that it don't happen or it do happen, is that you that wait until the media tell you to react.
yeah.
Right now, how come we still ain't protesting police brutality? Because it don't die down.
We
The
don't die
flame
now.
done gone. But it's still going on. But you
Yeah,
ain't
yeah,
marching the street about it. You ain't steady beating a drum. And this is how did I get a rise out of us? Did I make money off of this, bro? So that'll be the thing. Like we don't react when they want us to react. We're not proactive. But if she decide that the officer wasn't wrong, then me and Candice don't see. And I'm a super Candice
yeah,
on fan. You know what I mean? But I
yeah.
don't agree with everything Candice stand on. You know what I mean?
For me, with that is like I didn't expect Candice to be out there um marching for George Floyd and stuff. But when she was saying
Right.
things like, and to your point, you're absolutely right. She spoke from a non-emotional place. So I think with Candice is that her voice so low, right? And when she being an oppositionist and saying, "Hey, let's dissect this thing. Are you moving like George Floyd was some martyr?" That's what she said. He wasn't a martyr, meaning like he didn't die for a cause. He just happened to end up in a stupid situation and died. So now what happened is we gonna hear her voice screaming, George Floyd wasn't a martyr. Like why we acting like that? In a time when we just see the man dead on the ground with a white man knee on his neck. You check? So you right with what it is you saying. I feel like still there's a balance between real life situations that are happening in real time and then her commentary. You know what I mean? And I ain't disagreeing with what she's saying, because he wasn't a martyr. Nobody's saying that he was. We ain't here to discuss if he was a martyr or not. So you talking about whether or not he's a martyr, kind of taking away from the message, like, yo, that man out there pointing me, no one that killing us. And you want to talk about if you are a martyr or not. So, and then my thing is the people them that really don't F with us at all and want to find a way to justify this type of fuck, guess who name they gonna blow up? And guess who voice they gonna blow up saying he want a matter? The same media. I have media on both sides. So the same media who have who trying to keep the police out of prison and make it seem like it ain't a big deal and they're killing each other anyway, so this shouldn't be that big of a deal, even though our eyes just see what we just saw. They using your black face now to say, hey, look, are you want black people saying he wasn't that's much of a saint. So why I rile up about? That'll be my only problem. It's like
So
when you wrong black people, when we black people and we wrong white people and we using the N-word all the time. Nigga this, nigga that, nigga this, nigga that, nigga. To me, we have every right to speak how we want, but it's like, yo, no, this man repeat a fuck. No, we want knock his head off. You know what I mean?
right.
It just guess it's
So
nuances
not
to everything.
right. And not to stick too long on it, but it's like the beat Rodney King, I think it was like 96 or 90
Yeah,
something,
90 something. Yeah,
something in the
yeah.
90s. Right? So it's ain't new.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So let's stop reacting every time.
Yeah,
Like you don't know, it have some police that just don't fuck with us.
yeah,
Or have some white people, this ain't brand new to us.
yeah,
But we that react every time like a brand new. And for me,
yeah,
if George Floyd people them want to feel some type of way over Candice, what she's saying, I with them.
yeah.
You who don't know George Floyd from no
No
place
place.
try to
Yeah,
convince me that you empathetic to the situation when you
yeah,
live in the violence and you ain't empathetic to the shit that going on wrong here. Miss
yeah,
me with it. Like
yeah,
get from it. Like just stop.
yeah.
You
I
just
feel
want to be a part of the
same
whole
thing. Yeah,
emotional vibe, and I
yeah,
ain't with all of that. So the
yeah.
people who belong to George Floyd, if they feel some type of way because that's their people, them, you have every right. It's
Mm-hmm.
somewhere, not a matter, talking about he's a correct criminal at this point. I could see how that's insensitive. You on the outside looking in, you have a whole community that you need to. I tell don't tell me nothing about crime in the voice, and I don't know. A man picked up the entire Frederickstead in broad daylight, and not one eye you say anything, and all eye you know who he is. And I ain't telling you to say anything, I just telling you when you don't say nothing, I don't
Yeah.
want no more.
Your silence loud. Your silence is
Yeah,
loud.
don't tell me nothing else about. Yo, it's insensitive, right? That George Floyd had a knee on his neck,
Mm.
and Candace Owens say something, and I'm gonna finish right there. The other day, and I don't think the person had meant harm. I don't think this was their intention. A shooting in Synchro on a beach where everybody run leave their slippers. At the time, everybody were emotional about it, right? Couple years later, they post all the slippers and they had the slipper them that were posted that the police got up and they put in one spot. Somebody shared the picture and everybody under the picture were laughing about it. Like somebody didn't get
You're
shoot that
funny.
day.
That's
They
crazy.
want it. So I'm saying, so it's like I pick and choose when I want to be emotional about it. Funny, no, right?
Yeah,
You
yeah,
ain't, if I assist something, you know what I'm saying? Not me person,
yeah.
but just a random person assist something about it. I've been, oh, you insensitive, and
If
this person
somebody else
could have
had post
lose their
that, if
life.
one of them white people had went on that beach and post them slippers, we would have want to drag them and knock off their head top.
Like so, like I just so this is probably me and Candice Owen that be together. It's like I don't want like cut. Listen, bro. Like we paying attention, So I don't know if you remember that we remember, but we remember. You see what
Yeah,
I'm saying? And then right, and then ain't like it's somebody in California you're doing it to. You're doing it right here. So
yeah,
then to school us about if kindness need to be empathetic and then the people them who wasn't laughing at the slippers and like really recognize that that wasn't a cool thing, their voices quiet still too. They ain't
yeah,
coming up and saying, oh guys, that's insensitive, you should never do that. No, you quiet. You know why? Because on Facebook you have a thing called a mob, and once everybody agree whether it's a bad agreement or not, you don't want to deal with a mob. You check the mob of people who ain't on your side, even though they're dead wrong, like they're dead wrong. But you just don't want to deal with a mob.
yeah.
Only time you want to deal with the mob is when you could be a part of the mob.
Of the mob.
That's when you deal with the mob. So I'm gonna leave that right there. That was just an example of how me and Kyla disagree
Yeah,
on different
yeah,
topics.
yeah.
Yeah,
Shout
like
out to Kish
it
for
was
that
pop
topic. We just went impromptu just now.
in
Shout
practice
out
as a
Kish.
kiss rash, show us off,
Yeah,
man.
right. But we go jump
Yeah.
into it, man. So let me start with the Airbnb taxes. So not too long ago, our boy Governor Brian, there was at a conference, and I forget what the conference was about, but
Probably.
um he did mention um Airbnb taxes. Like there's an influx of Airbnbs in the Virgin Islands, and this is his argument. He's saying there's too many Airbnbs, apartments and houses that's usually set up for long-term rentals. People are using now as Airbnbs for short-term rentals. So that means there's less rentals um, available for locals to rent to rent houses for, whatever the case may be, because everybody trying to make this Airbnb money. So he is saying if you right now that the tax on Airbnb is 12.5%, I think. He's saying we should up it to about 20%. So no, what I'm gonna do is discourage those folks that just trying to, make a little extra bread as far as Airbnb goes, renting out their houses, and that might encourage them to do more long-term leases. So therefore locals could get more opportunities to rent houses because there is a short housing crisis, housing shortage here in the Virgin Islands, right? And pretty much everywhere we go, there's a housing shortage. So,
So
what? Go ahead.
go finish.
Um, so yeah, so that's pretty much the spiel. Adding his thought, his argument is adding more taxes to Airbnbs is going to discourage more folks from running Airbnbs, and is going to open up those homes for locals to be able to rent those homes on a long-term lease as opposed to Airbnb. He said that we need to start pushing them Airbnb clients back to the hotels. Got the hotels paying a hotel tax, and that tax will help with taxes will go towards wherever the hell it'll go towards the roads, all this other stuff, da 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 da. But with the Airbnb market now, they're not paying as much in taxes as the hotels, so the government ain't getting as much revenue back from the Airbnbs as the hotels, and that was his proposal. His I guess his argument as to why he feels the need to increase Airbnb taxes. So go ahead, Ren.
Well, be, don't tell me it's a housing crisis, Governor. When you cool with a bunch of illegal immigrants being here in the first place, where you
Mhm.
think this thing?
Mhm.
Like, where you think this thing?
Yeah,
So, first of all, why don't you say, you know what? If you're here illegally, you need to leave because you have people that need places to stay, and you probably taking up one of them places. We're not Jamaica, we're not Trinidad, we're not the United States. We're a very small island nation, probably the first or second smallest in the Caribbean. We don't have a lot of space already as it is. You see what I'm saying? How about you talk about that first before you even talk about if there's a housing crisis?
yeah.
That was something I would have expected you to say. Illegal, not legal immigrants. People who are here illegally.
Mhm.
That's number one. Number two, I like Airbnbs. I rather stay in an Airbnb just personally, and I just like the privacy of it. So if like me saying by my mother, I would prefer being in an Airbnb. Um, I think I don't think you should raise any taxes. I really do think that the hotels just need to do better. The hotels get a lot of money, bro. Through the
Uh,
EDC and different things, like they get a lot of money from the government. Like, do
mhm.
better. When you go to some of these hotels, and listen, I'm never here to knock the Virgin Islands. I love Bluebird favorites. I mean, there's a lot of nice hotels in St. Thomas and probably St. Croix as well. But you need to do better at bringing them prices down.
Yeah,
Bring them. If you want to compete with Airbnb, you need to make your amenities better, your experience better. It's a hotel. It's a
yeah,
resort.
yeah,
Okay. The last real resort I saw was Store Falls.
yeah,
And after that, I don't really have a resort. Maybe Margaritaville, but I look like it's going on a drain already. You know what I'm saying? So, there's no knock to Mark. I read a veil. I just telling you how I seen it. I'm not trying to knock anybody thing,
Mhm.
but the hotels who that get most of the breaks and most of the money because they got more breaks than people who own Airbnb. I don't tax.
Me personally, I feel you
Right.
finished, bro. Yeah, I ain't want to cut you off.
I just, I just, the hotels need to engage in a competition
Yeah,
rather than tax a person for using an Airbnb 12%, 15%, 20%. Nah, let the hotels engage in competition. You could barely find the hotel rooms, right? These places that be empty, but when you go to book them, you can't find
can't
a
find none,
hotel.
and that I was just gonna say that. So here one now. Number one, all the Airbnb hosts gonna do is pass that cost on to the client. So
Right,
you're talking about this tax. So now my Airbnb gone from 150 a night to 165.
right.
I gonna get paid. The host them ain't paying that. They're gonna pass it on. And then the hotel prices in the territory is so ridiculous that even
Hmm.
adding the Airbnb tax, you still might end up less than what you would spend. My boy Marriott, the West End, the French, that's a good resort. That's one of the resorts we have, the Frenchman Reef that just reopened. That's a really beautiful property. My boy, they're gonna be about 7, 8, 9, between 700 to 1400 a night to stay there, you know. And then you're talking about don't mention the rates. Don't even talk about the rates. You check sugar be down. Sugar been down since the hurricanes. Um, let me see what else we get as far as we take Secret Harbor, 500, $600 a night. You know what I mean? So like ain't like hotel prices on island are that reasonable. The reasonable hotels that you're gonna find are the Windward Passages, the Blue Beds. Blue Beds are really nice hotel. Winwood, to me, they need they have some updating to do. Um, but you're gonna get what you pay for. You know what I mean? If you need a place to stay, couple nights or whatever the case may be, a night, you ain't got nothing really going on. You just need a bed and a shower, or whatever the case may be. Them is the type of hotels you're gonna go to. But as far as taxing it, I feel like that cost gonna just get passed on to the customer, right? So when you checking out an Airbnb, look at fee cleaning fees. My boy, if I book in an Airbnb and I the price is 150 a night, $100 a night, and I stay for five
Right.
nights, my total should be about $500. No, when you get to the checkout part, you're gonna see all these cleaning fees and this tax and this fee and all of them type of stuff. So that gonna just be another fee, they're gonna roll right on to the customer and the client gonna end up paying more. So that'll be the problem with these proposed taxes. You ain't taxing who you think you're taxing, you ain't taxing a homeowner, and that ain't enough to deter he from not renting out his space to where he can make 5,000 in 2 months instead of $1,000 a month. Like you gotta make it make sense, Dad. You got to make it
Yeah.
make sense. So,
And
but
I ain't for government gaining the way of capitalism too much. And I feel like, a lot of people in the Virgin Islands who own homes are trying to make it by renting out their place, right?
yes,
So this is what I don't care how much you charge a foreigner to come and stay in the Virgin Islands. You going to pay to stay in paradise. Charge them whatever you want to charge them. What I would say is though, especially during the peak seasons, like for carnival and stuff like that, there should be something in place for relief for people who are either from the Virgin Islands, returning to the Virgin Islands to enjoy their home and
yeah,
can't stay in a hotel that they don't have these extra percentages on
yeah,
them and high cost on them to find places to stay. As far you know me, don't tell me them trees over there protected by nothing. You don't have enough
knock
hotel
it up.
space all above Lockout School. Rake that shit down and put
Yeah,
some hotels over there.
yeah, yeah,
All above Thomas over there. Rake all of it down and put something where people
yeah,
could stay. The Virgin Islands is in dire need of more hotels.
yeah.
So, and more hotels just mean more jobs, right?
And
But I don't want more jobs at all. You paying people pennies and a dollar to clean
yeah,
your room. I don't think that I really think it's like the people that who work in a hotel should really make top dollar. But I want you make top dollar if you are hospitable.
Yeah.
You ain't gonna be making top dollar being nasty to people neither.
People, yeah,
You see
yeah,
what I'm saying? So when you go over Rappoon Hill, you get a whole mountain side over there. Ain't shit over
yeah.
there.
Nothing
Ain't
over on
even
that side.
a tree for you to walk you to see what going on. They
Yeah.
just
Push,
knock
yeah.
that shit down. Okay,
Yeah,
like that's what we have land for. We need to make the land make money.
yeah,
Okay,
yeah, yeah.
we don't need to be ahead. Just I don't care about how. No, it's an island nation. People
Yeah.
want to come here. They're gonna pay top dollar just to come. Say they want a beach. They want the sun. A cold in Boston. A cold in Kentucky. A cold in Ohio. A cold all these places. You see what I'm saying? So I don't
Yeah.
mind you charging anybody top dollar to pay in paradise. I just don't want some daughters of the soil to have to suffer on their way back home when they want to use an Airbnb because or and I can't I don't know how to impress that on hotel.
So,
Maybe you bring your certificate and you show your birth certificate and say I from here, so again at discount and
yeah.
so again I don't have to deal with this fee. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? So
So they
maybe
used to
something
do a
that I
thing
could
that
put in
was
place.
locals will get a local rate. I think they still some hotels still honor that. But now what they're doing is usually when you pull up and you hear, hey, guys, a local, I need a local rate. No, what the man doing is IDing you. Let me see your VI license. They don't do that. So what you trying to tell me? Because I live in Georgia and I get Atlanta, I got a Georgia license, and I telling you as a local, I talking to you just like I say, you're gonna tell me I can't stay there. But Brad, who been living on island for the past 6 months and just transfer over his license, he gets a discount, but I don't. So to go back to what you were saying as far as board paper or even passport, showing a passport show your place of birth. You know what I mean? So that might be an option also. But I want to touch on something else. I want to go in a different direction, right?
Mhm, go ahead.
What I have a problem with, bro, is
Hmm.
when there's things and opportunities here and people screaming the locals can't afford that, which is a fact. But we have to dissect that. We live in paradise. It
Right.
costs to live here. You know how this thing's supposed to be set up? We supposed to be the rich, you know. We supposed to be the ones with them big house charging them people from the states big money to stay in our house, them, you know. But we ain't doing that. We're not investing. We're not taking our finances serious. We just want to have a good time. So these people leaving from wherever it is they're leaving from and coming here and seeing the opportunities and they buying the house them and they charging that big money and telling their friends in the state, hey, come here, man. You could stay here and this is how much it costs. So now when we locals need a place to stay and we go look at that price, why we can't afford that? That's because they didn't have us in mind when they put their pricing together. They try and make money. And we unfortunately we live in a capitalist system where they ain't doing nothing wrong. This thing's supposed to be different. This thing's supposed to be set up with we own a big house on the hill, and this is how much we charging. We own this business down here that doing charters, and this is how much we charging. We doing this other business that we catering food, and this is how much we charging. We have this other business out here that you can rent equipment from, and this is how much we charging. The local them wrong here is who need to be in control of the wealth. That is not what's happening. That needs to systematically change. Because guess what happened now? If that shit right now, locals saying, yeah, tax their ass because the man, I want a cheaper place to live. The house them out there that people actually renting and long-term leases look like shit. So I would like a nicer place to rent that don't look like 1974 with the designs and all of that type of stuff. I would like something more modern. So maybe if the governor tax Airbnbs, I might be able to get a cheaper apartment. That's the wrong mindset, you know.
Right.
You should be thinking about your finances and figuring out how you could make more bread so you could afford to buy a house. So you don't gotta go rent nobody house. And then guess what'll happen when you become a homeowner now and you get a little apartment down below. Now you thinking as a capitalist, you thinking as an entrepreneur, do I rent this out for $1,500 a month? or do I rent this out on short-term rentals and make $4,500 a month? So your view might change when you're placed in a position that these Airbnb hosts placed in. So I feel like that's putting a band-aid on a boss head. The boss head situation is we need to be more serious about our finances and investing and figuring out how to build wealth here so that we could take advantage of all these people that come into our home and spending money. Imagine all these people coming here and billions of dollars passing through this place and you ain't getting none. That's crazy to me. That's wild. That's like a lion in the jungle starving and they get antelope and zebra all over the place. How? Because we're not invested in ourselves and our finances. So to me, that's where the conversation need to shift. It need to go to a place that's like, okay, boom, how can we afford to own homes here? What can we do? What it is we gotta do? We got downsize and all of us live together for 2 years instead of I get apartment, mommy get apartment, sister get apartment, brother get apartment. Okay, well maybe we just rent one apartment, split the rent. That extra $1,000 that you were spending in apartment that could go in your pocket. At the end of the year, you save $12,000 just from moving in with your pet, with your family and living like a family, and then in 2 years you get 24 grand. You get 24 grand. Your sister get another set of money. Your mother get another set of money. I combine our incomes and put that money up and go buy a big house on the hill. A house big enough to home all of you, to house all of you, and big enough that I could have an Airbnb to the bottom and charge them people that come in here to visit our space, breathe up our air, kick up our sun, drink up our water, and all of this type of stuff. Charge them money to stay here. And now we in the driver's seat of the entrepreneurship on the island. To me, that would be my
So,
message. But
in theory, right? In theory, that is great. But there's a lot of things and moving parts that has to be realized, understood, and practiced before even put the theory into play.
yeah,
Number one, let's just talk about people living together and saying that we're going to save $24,000 each. You get one person in the house saying, "Oh, I could live my life and still save my money and still go to parties." And so by the time the 12-month come, one person save 24,000, one person save 10,000, one person save 5,000. It's not like they're gonna look at it like, oh well, I'm paying less, so I'm able to save more. People, our mind state as a people is that I paying less, I could
mhm,
spend more. You see what I'm saying? So it's this thing. I always tell people, they say, you wanna understand what the problem with black people is? Look at the Virgin Islands. We are the governors. We is the we run everything, and we get funding from Big Brother in America,
yeah,
and we
yeah,
fucking it up.
yeah,
That's not an individual. That's a cultural, systemic mind state that we in, bro.
yeah.
Like, I can't live with my sister. She do me some fuck when I was 10 years old and mean and I fuck with she, and I can't live with my brother and fuck my mother. And people have these traumas, and people want their privacy, and people want to do things on their own. So dying all, just having them coming together to even realizing how we can monopolize things is a problem. Then let's just even say we get past that part, my boy, right? And we could get people to think together and live together. I feel like that's one household. No, we have to get 10,000 more households to be like that, eh? And their priorities is off, as we could see throughout the year. When it comes to carnival, when it comes to art, you know what the rule of thumb is for me? Look at your schools, right? Look at your healthcare system, and then um so your schools is bad, your healthcare system is bad, and your in how you deal with the elderly and the infrastructure is bad. So if the people who leading us have us in this state subconsciously, why you think the young watching? We went high school in order to talk to children. All my happened when 2017.
Yeah.
20, so bro, that's 8 years ago. That's eight children for 8 years went through high school, my boy, and watch it be shit. And so then now we the same people, the adults who are in control are making it happen. Your mother ain't going to vote, your father ain't voting, your big sister ain't voting. They're telling you stuff like they don't care about the system rig. Who rig it? The white
Yeah.
man? No, we in
Really?
charge.
Yeah. Yeah. We in charge.
We in charge. So who you blaming? Oh, you blaming governor? That's your neighbor. That's
Yeah.
your best friend father. We
Mm.
are like this stigma is like, oh, it's the government. We are the
The
government.
government.
We
Facts.
is the police. The
Yeah.
police partner over there is my partner. That's your partner too. What you
Yeah.
mean the police a problem and the police corrupt? That means we corrupt.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying? We as a community ain't get our priorities straight. And a big part of it is tolerance and patience. You see what I'm saying?
And
So we that
vision.
tolerate that stupidness, and
Mm-hmm.
then we don't know. There's no generation that are going to say, you know what? We will have to take some blow. They don't want me to be government because my speech is we have to take some blows for about 4 years.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
Yeah.
the youth
I
that
would have went a second
want
song.
to live,
They
I
would have voted for me
wouldn't
again. I gonna be
again
like Trump,
as we're going.
executive order, executive order,
Yeah,
executive
you're gonna have
order.
to take some schools to get this thing right. We're gonna have to
Yeah,
take some
facts. Yeah,
because it's nowhere our schools looking like this. It's
yeah.
nowhere Wang Louis is like this. And it's nowhere Schneider looking like this. It's nowhere people still having to fly off. You mean to tell me we approved to build a new hotel by Wyco, which I don't have a problem with, and we don't have like a center, a surgical center where we have doctors and rotation where people don't have to fly off island to do major surgery in 2025. Where it's expensive for you to fly and enjoy it. So where's the
Bro, the traveling nurses just leave. Got the one ain't paid.
right? So then here's the thing now. Here's the crux of it all. A lot of things gonna have to suffer under my watch, and people are going to have to be paid more.
Mm-hmm.
Right? As I really want a populace, which is me and you and my opposition and my apps mother and everybody need to be getting paid more. So some slashing have to go on
One,
so the
yeah.
populace have money in their pocket. And then on top of that, the populace having money in their pocket, there has to be some non-tolerance things happening. Here what going on? Tourism, you cool, but festivals, we're gonna have to slash some money
Yeah, scale this
because
thing
you
back.
can't get a 3.5 million no more. You're gonna gotta make it work with 1.2.
1 point
We're gonna have to
exactly.
start, yeah, because we don't need all. I was talking to my partner on the phone. I say, who were in the village when we were 10? I can't tell you. So
Yeah.
then why
Jamban.
Shabbat?
Jamban. And you
I
know what
don't
gonna
need
happen
Shabbat.
too? Facts. You know what gonna happen? That gonna be us reinvesting back in our own products. I rather pay my partner the charge of 5,000 throughout the year. I rather pay he
Let me
10
let me
during
pay the
carnival than go pay
locals.
Shabba 50.
Let me pay the locals and lead them go on stage. Because guess
Facts.
why? There was never a year I went into St. Thomas Village and I didn't have a good time.
Facts.
And it wasn't because of who on stage. I could have care less who on
Yes, facts.
stage.
Facts.
Okay, so now this is what going to happen. It don't have any more Lana Rabo stadiums. Everything that will happen in Lana Rabo stadium that had something to do with culture is going to happen in the village.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's going to be the entertainment plus some DJs and all the local trying to get ahead and make a name for themselves. Now the
Mhm.
island going to hear. They ain't hear you all year. They're going to hear you now.
Yeah. Facts.
Okay, all
So,
right, because
so
we're spending too much money on a lot of different things, and then there's no transparency in where. Not to say like the governor ain't telling us what happening.
yeah.
No, I don't want you to tell us what's happening when it happened. I
Yeah.
want you to tell me what the plan is for the
Yeah.
next 3 years
Yeah.
and in steps.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying? And when
Yeah.
a hiccup is coming, let me know a hiccup coming.
Yeah.
Not after the hiccup happened, this is what happened.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
the leadership that we've been enduring for the past 20 years
Yeah.
is reflective of the people, not the person in office. And the
Yeah.
reason I say that is I think it have 40,000 registered voters.
Yeah.
How much vote? 18,000 people vote, I
Yeah. Some
believe.
crazy number like that. Some crazy number.
18,000 people vote. So I don't, you ever hear me? Since election, you notice me say nothing about Brian, right?
Yeah.
Why you put me in there?
Exactly.
Don't come to me now.
Yeah.
You had a chance to change what you were crying about.
Yeah.
You decided at that point in time that voting don't matter.
Yeah.
Okay, well,
So here what? Let we go back though. Let we go back to you have mentioned something just at a while ago when you say when I mentioned like living together gonna save money and you say
right,
like the family have to buy into that, right?
right.
Everybody in the family have to buy into that. Which is you're absolutely right. For the shit to work,
Oh, before let me
right.
I want to tie back into what you're saying. So the mindset have to change in order for us to start teaching financial literacy where people could see the light at the end of the tunnel when you're talking to them in the
Yeah,
very beginning. Not
I
like you
feel.
talk to them and they can't see the end and they have to move them to the middle to see the end.
Yeah,
No, look, listen, when you start to understand economics, finances, how it relates to you from being just a person who in the ghetto person who owning on the island, when I could show you this plan all the way through,
yeah.
then you could say, hey, let's put a family together.
So
Because now
I
we have
feel.
a plan.
So I feel. So you was like so yeah, we have to have that buy-in as a family. The family got buy-in to what it takes, right? And
Right,
that's where the issue to be because three family members gonna buy in, but one person ain't gonna buy in and all of that type of stuff. But you know,
right.
I don't say this all the time. You
Mhm.
know who buy into that system? The Haitians. You know who buy into that system? The Arabs. Them big stinking house that we seen on the hills. I think one Arab living there, families living there. That is the cheat code. You have to come together as a family and pour our money together and purchase property, purchase, start businesses, put our money together to advance our economic standing. We ain't doing that for stupid reasons like my sister and my uncle, I don't like each other and da. You think the Arabs don't have issues within their family too? But the mission is bigger than your little problem with your brother.
But that's tolerance, Kyle. In an Arab family, you rarely going to find an Arab gangster. You know? You get a couple
Mm-hmm.
of them who might do a
Yeah.
little thing on the island, but the majority of them, they're parenting, tolerating certain things.
Mhm.
In the Haitians, the Indians, any one of them you pick, the white people, they ain't tolerating certain things. This is how it'll go. And I need in our culture, this is how they talk to each other. This is how it'll go.
But it
You understand
also
what I'm
have to
saying?
do with
We don't have
upbringing
that.
though.
Right,
It
that's what I'm
also get
saying.
go ahead, go ahead.
We have a not we don't tolerate things in a black society. We
Yeah.
don't allow. And when you like my mother used to say, if you get them an inch, they're gonna take a yard and then they're gonna take a mile. We
Mm-hmm.
discipline within the family structure.
Yeah.
You see
Yeah.
what I'm saying? We and I ain't saying that people don't try now. That don't get me wrong. Your mother tried, my mother tried, a lot of people mother trying it just didn't work out.
Yeah.
Then on top of that, there are a village of people.
Yeah.
We're isolated individuals in families. Bro, go and tell a youth man he doing fuckery now. Go color him up. Go grab a 10-year-old and say, what's wrong with you doing wrong here, man? Down to your mother, the mother want to know why you put a hand on the child, blah, blah. In
Don't
an
touch my child.
Arab community, no, Hasif, your son over here, have him. He dead scared.
Yeah.
Yusuf coming. And you're getting licks for real. And all of them going mass together. You see what I'm saying?
Mhm.
We have a village within our village, and that's how they insulate and protect themselves to keep themselves sharp.
Yeah,
Our village scattered.
yeah.
Five different type of, and you so understand it, and then we have problems with each other. So imagine I see a random child and her mother don't even like me on Facebook.
Mhm.
It'll be little petty. This is black problems, bro. This is not,
So
this is just something. That's why I say, how do we change the
it
mentality?
going it going you know how you the change your mentality. You know how change the work? All
Mm.
the ticket this song's so cliche and retarded. But bro, all the tickets one when me it's three houses in the neighborhood right now, right?
Right,
It's
right.
my mother, my sister, my brother them, your mother, your sister, your brother them, all of that. And everybody have different mindsets within the house. But this house, our mother and my father
Mhm.
say, listen here, no. This is what going on. This is how we doing this thing. Everybody staying here and we putting aside that money every month. Da 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 da. If you ain't buying into this system, you got to go. If you ain't buying into the system, you gotta go. All right. When now, 2 years later, that system pay off for this family, the other two families gonna watch that family leave from where all of them were living and go build a house on the hill. And they want to know, but how the hell I do that? Where I get the money from? No, 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 no. Everybody had we have the money, you know. We just spending it and stupid shit. So everybody gave up their apartments and moved back home for 2 years. So now that gonna be the example for um them other two neighbors to see that this could be done. So now it's up to them other two neighbors if they want to implement it or not. One might try, and one might say, you know what, hey, I see what Kyle just do. We gotta do that too, you know. And they might have one knucklehead brother that say, Miss on me and I fucking want to smoke my weed and mommy want me buying into the system. Okay, if you ain't buying into the system, so there goes our house from being a three a $700,000 house to maybe 650 Kahigan. Cool. That's one less person you got to house, but the wealth is still there. You check. I would have, bro, before I come out here screaming credit and financial literacy and all, I were part of the problem. I used to be talking about dumb fuck shit that ain't matter. You know what I mean? So like when I see how it work out for me, dog, I start saying, me boy, this credit thing, I just fix my credit, and this is what I get, you know. What your credit score is? Nah, man, let me fix that for you. Let me work on that for you. Boom. I have some people that buy into the system. I have some people that sit down and say, I gonna do what it is you say. I gonna do this, I gonna do that, I gonna do that, I gonna focus, I gonna do all of these things, and I buying into the system. I have some people that last a month, 2 months, 3 months, and they fall off. But guess what happened now? When they see that person that start the same time as them, getting their new house, getting these new opportunities, getting a new business and stuff. Now that forcing that person to fall off to say, what the fuck? So wait, how he get a how his credit score got to 800 and he was able to buy his house? Because the 2 years it took, he didn't stop this process. He didn't fall back and drop off. He said, you know what? As long as this fuck take, it gonna take. You check. So I feel like number one, there's not enough examples because a lot of people feel exactly how it is. You just explain that ain't everybody gonna buy into this here. But I telling you, you get people that the Haitian them do that. The example on there. The example is there for us to look at every time we drive through Annos and we see all these Haitians buying up all them properties. Every time we drive through Skyline and we see them big stinking houses all them Arab living. Okay? The example is there. Again, with my listeners, the bank don't allow up to 6 co-signers on a loan. Some of them gonna go from 4 to 8 co-signers on a loan. How much people in your family? Oh, daddy leave me and mommy was single mother. Okay, all are grown now. It's 4 children and mommy. That's 5 people. That's 5 incomes. If each are you making $2,000 a month times 5, that's 10 racks in mortgage, guys. So I'm saying
You know what
don't
I love
sit out
about you?
here.
Let me tell you about you.
Right.
You have a lot of faith. You have
Let me
a
let me
lot of
explain
faith in
why.
these
Let me
people.
explain why. Let me
And
explain why, bro. Because I don't see it firsthand. I don't see it firsthand way. I'll have somebody struggling and say, Kyle, I can't come up with a 680. I'll pay you in installments. Okay. I'm gonna save my money and I'm gonna pay you to fix my credit. And then they stick with it. And it's to the point where they buying homes and them type of fuck. So
The
again, like,
individual,
yeah,
individual, did I say that?
individual. But
Okay.
also what I see a lot also is, can you fix my credit? I send in my sister. Can you fix my credit? I send in my brother. Can you fix my credit? I send in my mother.
And how much of them, when you do this, the brother, you have a lot of faith. And you have a lot of faith in our community, and I
So
commend
you're
you for
gonna ask
that.
how much of them actually come together and do what it is I saying, right?
Yeah, I have so much faith. I don't follow you blindly because you have the faith in me. Me,
I,
I don't believe. I believe in children.
hmm
I want to go and influence children minds into what you
Yeah,
talking about,
yeah,
right? Because I see it every day. When I Haitian, we're a nation of excuses. So when them Haitian people do exactly what you say, instead of them saying we could do it, they have a bunch of excuses of why the Haitian did it. They
yeah.
so you have a lot of faith. So now I
So
want to know
and,
out of them
and
three people who say, check my brother, check my sister, check my uncle, how much of them
how much
come
of them?
together and make something happen?
And that's why now this conversation is important, because fixing your credit as three individuals is the first part. So know that done now.
Mhm,
My message now or recently for the past 5 hours now, my message was get your shit straight. Okay? So
mhm.
when three are you shit straight, then we could have this conversation about coming together and going to the next step. So that's why now I feel like this conversation is so important now, because it needs to happen more. They need to hear it more. They need to hear it as repetitive as they hear get your credit fixed, as repetitive as they hear save your money. Because really and truly, that we don't have the local example of how this shit work. Yes, like for you just say the Haitian them could do it because we're using excuses for white is they doing it. Whatever their excuses, hey, but nobody want to live in no shanty in annos and wait and build it up piece by piece. So me doing that with my family, cool. The Arabs them do it. Well, we ain't get money like the Arabs them. Here is a local screaming to you. This is how it is. You could do it. So again,
Right.
Red, I think why to be unapologetic to the people that ain't listening to what it is I saying, and I don't care about the
Mhm.
sad story, is
Right.
because I have the faith for the people them that are listening. They
Right.
capital.
Right.
That's why I care. You know, and I would say that's why I care about it. I care about who here listening and implementing what we talking about. You know. If you and some other fuck, if you hear my voice right now and hearing me telling you this is how it is, you need to do it, and you disregarding that to continue giving away your money in rent, partying, jumping up, doing all of these type of fuck, you can't come to care, come tell me about how your living situation is, and you can't afford a apartment because your landlord just kick you out to do an Airbnb. I telling you for years now, this is what it is you gotta do. So I ain't gonna feel that level of sorry for you. But when I give in this game to that one family, bro, all I need is one, you know. What we don't say? When we used to go movies and mall and them type of thing, and we see them girl and we try and roll, and you roll it and you offer 7, offer 8. All I need is one girl to say, hey, Kyle, this is my number. See my number? I get home and I show in the whole hood. Look, I kept something to them, someone I'm talking about. All
Right.
I need is one. Because I want, and this is the same thing. Think about it, Red, when we talking to them kids, and them kids, you know what I mean? Some of them ain't gonna listen, some of them gonna listen, but all we need is that one youth man to hear what it is we say. Because guess what? He get a bunch of partner. He get a bunch of partner that he don't influence. Some of them ain't gonna buy into what he talking about. And some of them gonna be like, what? I like, wait, is you talking about, you know? Let me get on that energy. And that's the only way we're gonna uproot this thing, my boy, from within. It's like I say, a partner of mine, I was by my partner house in a long time. We had a conversation, and my partner said, my boy, Kyle, I love what it is you doing, you know, but me, dad, I don't know right now if you were to go in the ghettos and say, listen, I doing a free seminar for people to learn about the finances and all of this type of stuff, get your credit fixed and all of that. And you send it out to 100 people, dad, maybe 10 people won't show up. So that's why I don't even waste my time. And I say, my boy, that's 10 people that stop from what they're doing to come here to listen to this game. I get 10. Let's go. 10.
Right.
You think I want about a 90? The 90 that ain't here, they ain't ready to receive this. Me, I don't want them here anyway. They cannot receive what it is I giving them. You have to
Right.
want to be here. So when them 10 reach, dog, of that 10, maybe 2 of them go implement what it is I talking about. The other 8 gonna be like, yeah, yeah, he talking about me, know what he talking about. And them 2 will listen to what it is I talking about. So out of 100, I get 2. To the action, I'm implying the actional steps to do what it is I saying. So guess what gonna happen when them 2 go out there and do them fuck? The other 8 that were there, the boy,
Mm-hmm.
how you get a ride? How you get a new car? How you get this? How you get a boy that saying fuck I what talking about the man? What? Why weren't you listening? What it is he say? And they gonna repeat what I say verbatim. And then they gonna inspire their partner. And then their partner going, Red man, when you start thinking about getting your credit fixed, when your partner start fixing credit, right? When your cousin start fixing credit, right? Money,
Right.
when you start
Facts.
thinking about getting your credit fixed, when your partner start fixing credit,
Right.
that's how you
Right.
to permeate these people in from within me, boy. But we doing it wrong and we waiting for the government to come down here and be like, oh, we gonna fix this and we go. That they can't. Boy, the government can't do nothing for me. They could get on my
Right.
way. They could get out my way and let me do my work. That's what they could do for me. So when I don't buy when the things are, I'm not absolving the government for their responsibilities. Roads, hospitals, airports, them I can't do them thing. So I do our job. What I out here doing is trying to get these people to understand, stop balling, stop whining, come together and do the thing. It's that simple.
So,
Can't do it by
so why
myself.
would you say, like
Go ahead.
and you know, and I'll give you this in your credit journey when you started to say you're going I was like, I you must something and listen to you. And you say all I needed was one. So I don't have faith in them. I just have faith that you have faith in them. You know what I'm saying? So I'm gonna be real with you. I get faith that you get faith in them, but I don't get no faith in them because I'm a man that does go for wide scene. And but if you feel like we need is one to do it, then I'm
That's bro,
absolutely
that I
correct.
am the one. That guy is the one. And look at the work out here doing. How, people will be like, so Kyle, how long have you been in finance? What? What dude out here selling dog for a living? I get tasked into this thing, dog, because I learned something that worked so well for me and changed my life. And I was loud about it to the people them closest to me. And then everybody close to me have people close to them. So if I fix Red Man credit to the point where he have more opportunities, guess what he gonna tell his girl and his brother and his mother and everybody else? Check Kyle. And then when I do the same thing for she, guess what she gonna do with her brother, her uncle, and her mother? Check Kyle. Bro, that's the
Right,
only way this thing gonna work. We cannot worry about who ain't show up. We have
right,
to focus on who they are. The people them
right.
here is who gonna
The
set the
cushion just come out.
example. Gonna show them the what is it?
The cushion just the cushion just come out.
But who they are.
Yeah,
Fact.
yeah, yeah.
But the people them that implementing and who showing up, them 2 out of the 10 is who gonna lead the example for. So when my mouth gone and I sleeping and you can't hear me no more, he's my mouthpiece now. He gonna implement
Right,
what he do and show the next man. So when the next man say, but how you get that do? He ain't gonna say go check Kyle. He gonna say the same for Kyle. We're talking about how you have to do this and do this and do this and do this. I do it. And look at me. That's the only way this thing gonna change me, boy. And again, like you just say,
mm,
you don't have faith in the people left. Me, I get faith in who show up. I get faith
right,
in the 2 people that here. I so
right,
happy to are you here. God have motivated me so much more to make sure the 2 are you win and win
right.
big. God, the other 8 of them in here. We ain't worry about them, man. That's more opportunities
Absolutely.
for the 2 are you. Here we go. Cause guess what? I gonna be the examples that gonna make that other 8 come back. And if they don't come back, that's their business. But you know what? That other 8 can't come to me and say, "Me boy, things rough out here to me. You know the government get on my face. Them and me want to hear the fuck get on my
Right,
face." I don't have
right,
that level. I said me out here hopelessly trying to change no system, you know, me boy. I tell you, this
yeah,
is how it is. It gotta be done. You want to do this work? You want my system good, you know? I set up, you know. You want to be set up. This is what it is you gotta do. So when you pull up, you're gonna get a game. If you don't pull up, You ain't getting again, but you can't come bawling to me about how hard things is because I gonna tone you out. So I went on a long rant. That's just my 2 cents when it comes to locals
No,
living here and being the story, the holders of the wealth on the island. That's how it needs to happen. You check?
yeah, your 2 cents were worth $1 million, so it was a good 2 cents.
That's a bar. I'm
Anyway,
gonna write that
I
up.
feel like yeah, I know, I know. I bar with them, you know.
Yeah, that's a bar. That's a bar. You do
I
that
had
for
a
a
lot
living.
of bars. I had to give people bars. Anyway, let we talk about tax on imported goods.
Yeah. Okay. So
Uh,
no
go
go
ahead.
right. Go.
So I think me and you had this discussion offline before, and the tax on imported goods works in theory if we were a country that produced things,
Yeah.
because then it would have forced us to buy locally
Yeah.
or purchase things locally. But I have two feelings about it, right? Because like for me, and you had a store before, right?
Yeah.
And like I explained to you before, I said, "Could Kyle have a store? Kyle I get his stuff from China anyway." But
Hmm.
now Kyle have to pay rent for his space and he have to pay employees, and
Yeah.
that comes with us. So
Hmm.
wherever Kyle getting his good from, whether it be Vietnam, whether it be China, and they raise their prices because
Hmm.
everybody when people what people don't understand is when prices raise here for you, it raise over there too, you know. When
Yeah.
prices raise, it raised in the wall. It's not just America, it's not just it raised in the wall, right? Because what happens around the wall, everything just
But
goes up around the wall. Ain't like things low in China and then they high in the United States. No,
yeah.
if they were low in the United States, it was just lower in China.
Facts.
They're lower than our low. That's all what you're
Yeah.
seeing, right? So then now here comes Amazon and here comes Timu and here comes what the other one name
Sheen.
is
Sheen.
Sheen,
Sheen.
right? So now they don't have to go to Kyle. They could go direct. So when they cut Kyle out, Kyle don't have any more revenue. He got to lay somebody off. So that's no taxes on that income there. That helps the government. And I know we making this argument. We're going to say, well, the government that fuck up the money anyway. So it don't matter even what we pay taxes. What did they do with it anyway? But just all things being equal, forget that the government that fuck shit up. No, we don't have Kyle store had 50. Look at Kmart. Kmart was booming. Ain't booming no more. Because you could shop outside. You have Amazon, you have online, you could ship from outside of the country and go directly to the source. So all them people who are working Kmart, who had when Kmart first come, it had good, decent paying job. People were making a living. People were moving up from being a cash register to a manager. Then another location open up. They were doing good. They had two locations. Still have two locations, but they done bad. So I get in the sense of you want to tax it to drive people to buy local, but then there's not enough local places and varieties for locals to even go and compete with a Sheen and
Yeah.
compete with a Timu or compete with a Amazon. Yo, St. Croix so big, they really could introduce the farming industry where probably could feed at least the schools territory wide. We don't even do that. To even say, you know what? I ain't buying no tomato from Pueblo. I gonna buy tomato from the local farmers. I would get that. I would understand that. You see what I'm saying? So for me, it's two edge. You want people to be able to buy things that's affordable so they could continue to live. But I also want people to buy locally and shop locally to keep money in the community, because when you buy from Sheen, when you buy from Timu, when you buy from Amazon, that money gone.
Yeah.
It's not circulating in the community. So I
Facts.
think that was a concerted effort by them to tax these things to encourage you to buy locals. But I think it was misguided because there's not enough for you to buy locally to even say you're making a dent.
So
or it makes sense.
my response to that, right? First
Mhm.
part, Trump with these tariffs. Trump putting tariffs on
Mhm.
everybody.
I with it.
We the United States Virgin Islands, right? Anything that we send to the States don't have
Mhm.
no tariff in it. It made in
That's true.
USA. So if
Mhm.
he could figure out a way to get some shit growing in St. Croix or get some shit manufactured in St. Croix, this is an opportunity right now in lieu of
Mhm.
all these tariffs where the United States Virgin Islands could thrive. Oh, you ain't getting bananas from China no more? Hey, get them from St. Croix. You ain't getting mangoes from Cuba no more? Get them from St. Croix. Part one.
Even
So
even
that's
one better, to Iran. Everybody driving Teslas in the Caribbean now. Why not make St. Croix a Tesla part distribution hub? Why
facts.
why we don't have a warehouse where or even I think back in the day, either St. Croix used to make chips, computer chips, or pharmaceutical,
Is of
or both,
pharmaceuticals.
right?
Pharmaceuticals
But to
and
me,
watches.
chips should be made in St. Croix,
Yeah,
pharmaceuticals should be made in St. Croix, so we could export and say, well, okay, well, we're a United States territory. We don't have to do the tariff problem here, and we could export to the other
facts,
Caribbean islands the US
facts,
product.
facts.
I don't know,
So,
but go
so
ahead.
again, that's a whole nother conversation for a whole nother day.
Right,
Guys, we can't make that happen. That's our leaders who gotta be smart and creative enough to figure out the
right,
deals to incite these people to land these type of deals, right? That's a whole
right.
different conversation.
Mm-hmm,
So you mentioned Kmart, how
mm-hmm,
Kmart was thriving, and then now it's tough because of the Sheens, because of the Temus, and all of them type of thing. So I do understand your argument where you say, hey, a tax on online goods would solve the local entrepreneurs much better because now it forces you to buy local and keep these businesses in business so that they could employ people and they could pay into the tax system and all of that type of stuff that would help our USVI economy. So what
mm-hmm,
I would say is Kmart started writing on the wall for years. They started shift to online goods. They didn't shift with it. They
mm-hmm,
stood in the same position that they were in, and they are paying the price for it today. In business, you have to one anticipate the shift. This shit ain't gonna be like this forever. We up right now. We gonna be up for a while. We need to stock while we up and anticipate the shift because the shift is coming. The world is evolving every day, my boy. Everything changing every day. Your way of doing business ain't gonna change. What you think gonna happen? The Timu's gonna come. The Sheen's gonna come. So when
right.
it comes
But
to Kmart,
what does that do for the locals or the
I'm gonna
the
tell you, I'm gonna get
300
to that right now.
employees?
I'm
Okay,
gonna get to that right
okay,
now. If Kmart were wise enough and smart enough to anticipate this shift, you know what they could have
right,
said? They could say, listen here, no guys, go on Kmart, www.kmart.com to order all the shit you want. We're going to invest in fast shipping, fast deliveries. So therefore, my boy, Amazon don't use FedEx, They get Amazon
right,
drivers out here driving around the place, my boy. So
right,
that is what is that creating? Jobs. So you're gonna have less cashiers, but more delivery man delivering packages around the place. So you ain't
right,
displacing the locals. These mothers ain't innovative, bro. And that's why they're getting left behind. So we're gonna punish the taxpayer and make them pay more because this business ain't being innovative. I do not agree with that at all. I feel like we need to understand the bit. You can't, if you know Temu selling a
mm-hmm,
portable fan for $5. Dog, how you gonna try justify me buying your fan in your store for $25? So because I don't give a fuck about your employees, I want this fan, bro. And it's my job to give a fuck about your employees. It is not my
right,
sorry for guys. It ain't my job to care about your employees. It's my job to buy this fan for $5 and watch my pocket. So now when you taxing online goods now, thinking that they're gonna force people to Buy local, no, all I'm gonna do is make that man figure out another loophole to try find this fan that they used to buy for $5. If maybe they go find it for $7 or $8 or $9, they're gonna still buy that as opposed to paying this $25. Again, that's a band-aid and a bus head. The bigger problem is these businesses are not being innovative. I had a client that sells down Venos Plaza, and her argument was, Kyle, local limit and a local stick. Towards them, they don't want to spend. They ain't trying. They don't come here and they'll play cheap and where could I wait? But if I selling a t-shirt for $10, $15, they want to give me $3 and $5 for the t-shirt and da 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 da. I say, you know who they paying? They paying an Airbnb host, whatever they charging. They paying a tour guide, whatever he charging. They paying the airline people, they paying the taxi man, they paying the rent a car. They don't want what you selling. Stop
Right.
selling t-shirt. What you still out there
Right.
selling t-shirt for? That's so 1985. T-shirt and keychain. Now, those were popular in tourist destinations before there was this thing called a cell phone. When you had to
Mhm.
take pictures on a polar, a disposable camera and save the film and take it to Kodak so they could develop them pictures and you gotta wait 2 weeks to get back your pictures. The only thing in the interim that you would have to show that you've been to St. Thomas is this t-shirt, is this hat, is this keychain. Brother, I could let a wall know right now in a millisecond that I am in St. Thomas with this thing called a cell phone. So why am I buying your
Plus, the
keychain?
cruise ship selling these things
Exactly. The cruise ship's selling it to you before you even get here. So
before you even
again,
get here. So
the,
come and
the,
have the shot with us. Come and have the
you're
ship
coming
with
out
us
the
in
ship with
Thomas
a
shot
St.
time.
Thomas shot. So
Yeah.
again, the
And
thing
you
is
better
now,
buy it and the ship you buy us in Thomas keychain. And
this
memorabilia
is why I tell
before you. Yeah.
you could go on
Yeah.
Amazon and buy a St. Thomas shot on Amazon right now for
Right.
$3, $10. What I come in here to spend $15 for, and I could get this for 7 on Amazon. Brother, you cannot justify people overspending because of the local economy. You have, as a business, as a businessman, as a businesswoman, as a business person, you have to shift when the world's shifting. Bro, taxi money taking digital.
Right.
Taxi man, you know what I mean? Like this still on this
Right.
cash only vibe and this thing because they ain't shifting. It working out no because they have the numbers and they don't force the senator them, they don't punk them senators because if the senator them vote anything in that say you gotta switch to digital, no,
Right.
I can't report that I was making $30,000 a year when I make 180,000 because everything is cash. I actually have to report my earnings. That's more money for the territory and taxes. I really don't want to. The thing's simple, my boy. It's simple, but no. What we're going to do is tax that person, that single mother that wanted to buy a fan for her son because the classroom hat, because the government didn't do what it's supposed to do. So you're going to make she pay $25 for a fan instead of the $5 that she could get for. That is not the answer, bro. The answer is these businesses need to shift and anticipate the shift that's happening in the rest of the world and shift here with it so that they could continue to be compatible
Ahead of
in
the
this
curve.
market, dog.
Right.
We ain't
Right.
doing that. And then when we ball into the government, oh, everybody buying online, my business going out of business. Figure out something else to sell. Figure out another problem to solve. The people don't want t-shirt. So what you want to do? Force a t-shirt down the throat? They don't want it. So what you gonna sell? Figure out what it is they want. Market research. Again, billions of dollars are passed through here and you ain't getting none. Why?
Right.
Because you want to sell t-shirt and you want to sell a $25 fan that costs $5 and then tell the government you ain't making no money and you can't stay in business. So now the government got to try tax us now. Who gets sense to now spend $5 to $15 more on a fan that costs $5 online? That ain't the answer, dog. So again, the key and as far as it goes to this online tax,
Mhm.
shift with the wall. Shift. If Kmart had set up a hub here, think about this, bro. Kmart could have been the Amazon of the Caribbean if they had anticipated this shift. Amazon is service in the Caribbean the way it is service in the States. Kmart in the Caribbean. If you had set up warehouses here and had products being shipped directly to the Virgin Islands, no, you could have even supplied the rest of the Caribbean with a Kmart. But I ain't do that. You continue doing this brick and mortar, all outdated selling point and then now you're begging for the government now to step in and tax people to pay more money and online orders so I could keep people in business. That ain't answer that.
Well, and if you get technical about it, when you think about it, right? And I understand the premise of what you're saying, but it's easier for a company like Amazon to ship through the post office and get a package to me than for Kmart to set up a warehouse or a hub, ship it from the States to the post office, not the post office, to then either come on container ships, which cost money, come to the post office, which costs money, get to the warehouse,
Let me
house it,
pause. Let me pause
then
you there. Let me
pay
pause you there.
people.
So
Yeah.
I feel what you're saying, and not to cut you off. Not to cut you off. So what I proposing isn't every time somebody go on Kmart.com that they ship that out of here and no. What I proposing is have warehouses here on island already with the shit that you need. Okay, enough to supply the entire US Virgin Islands. So therefore, because guess what happened now? Guess what happened
Well, I
now,
wouldn't
Dad?
just say the entire Virgin Islands, I would say the Caribbean, like
Yes,
one of
and
the
I say, but
just
then I just saying start with
like
the Virgin
you'll
Islands.
have to pay, you'll have to pay. Like if Amazon put a warehouse there, let's say Kmart, because Amazon going to the post office, they still have to pay for that warehouse being there and employees to manage that warehouse, which comes with a 401k and it comes with medical and all these other things. I
They're
I
doing that
get
now with the brick and
premise of
mortar. They're doing that right now. Them is the same responsibilities they have for them employees that's inside that Kmart. Think about this,
so
bro. Go
I
ahead.
get
Sorry,
you
go,
know.
go,
Now
go.
I understand. No. Now I understand. Get rid of the Kmart itself.
Yes. Close the
Now I got
fuck
you.
down. How much money are paying to Park Mall in rent?
So, so then why wouldn't Kmart just do what Amazon do and just send it to you straight through mail?
And that's my point. So if Kmart was innovative to do what Amazon is doing, they could have had a whole supply system, a whole logistical thing that's catered to this online sale, and they would have choke off the online business in the USVI and the
Okay.
Caribbean.
Okay, now so now me, let me ask this question. So now me, I advocate for people. I want Kmart store to be here because it employs people. What are we gonna do about those 300 jobs that will last because I no longer have this store?
I got that
And I
exactly.
need them 300 jobs because I have to tax these people.
You're right. The 300 jobs just gonna look different. It ain't gonna be a cut right now. Kmart don't have any delivery drivers. So you're gonna go from a cashier to a delivery driver. You're gonna go from a
Mhm,
cashier to a handler. You're gonna go from a cashier to a stack person. You're gonna go from a cashier to a forklift operator. There's way more jobs involved in white they talking about than that little jokey operation they get it. Bro, you're gonna say you ever walk in an Amazon store, Red man? Have you? I have never.
mhm.
I never
No,
walk in an Amazon store. I never see one in my
no.
life. But I do see them when they pull up, some of them driving their own vehicles where Amazon
Right.
paying them to do deliveries. Some of them have the Amazon vehicle where Amazon paying them to do deliveries. My boy, innovation that the rest of the world shifting and the Virgin Islands ain't shifting. And then now they're making us suffer by upcharging these things because they have employees and taxes to pay. All of what happened, my boy, is they close. Bro, the K and Kmart in St. Croix fall off. Yeah, I
Long
don't know
time.
how long. A
So,
long time. And it's still
so
ain't put it back
and
up.
and and that's a, and so I get the model for Kmart and I ain't against it and I
Talk
with
to
it.
me.
But what I would more so want to see instead of taxing goods goods gonna get taxed regardless at some point, right? Is more manufacturing creating opportunities in the Virgin Islands
Yeah,
to ship
yeah.
out to the Caribbean.
And
So
and and
how do we see? I was asked, are my one question I used to ask around the time is like, are my leaders calling Elon Musk to ask him how we could do renewable energy down here? Are you talking to other people? Are you going to these? How you mean to tell me you went to New York to see the Jets play? Go Silicon Valley
so here
and
what?
see what it is we could bring to the Virgin Islands and bring incentive. If Silicon Valley creating things, right? Tech stuff, right? Because tech is the way to go. You already said that tech is the way to go. It's evolving. Kmart, they didn't catch a tech wave, they fall off. Tech is the way to go. How do I get the tech companies or give them incentive the same way Seattle and Northern California give them incentive to be here in the Virgin Islands so it could be easier for them to distribute either to Africa or the region. You
Facts.
see what I'm saying?
So I feel
So
you.
that's what I'm looking for.
I feel you. And again, it's a situation where like our leaders doing every okay. So I was talking to a partner of
Because
mine, right?
I rather you tax people than goods, you know. I rather you tax walking people than goods.
Yeah, yeah. So exactly. And that's what's gonna happen, bro. It's gonna create more jobs. Dog, Blockbuster and Netflix.
Right,
Netflix anticipated the shift. We were going away from these big, bulky cassettes and we went to DVDs and then eventually we went to nothing. We went to streaming.
right,
Netflix went to Blockbuster and said, listen here, we working on this thing here. We ain't even gonna need CDs no more, you know. This is how we could sell it to you since you're already up and running for this amount of millions. Blockbuster say, get from here, man. We want nothing now talking about we's Blockbuster. Where is Blockbuster today? If I ask my son if he knows what Blockbuster is, he will say no. They're a
right,
nothing. They're a nobody. They're a memory for us old people, dog. And they've been here running the route. Innovation, the lack of innovation will get you lost, my boy. So imagine,
right.
remember now, you know, Blockbuster used to
Right.
charge how much money used to make off a late fees, dog?
Yeah,
Like what used to make a killing off of late fees. When you return a cassette or a DVD late, they taxing you 150 a dollar and 50 cents a day or some crazy number, $3 a day, wherever it was. Some people had hundreds of dollars in late fees when it come to Blockbuster and Netflix. Say, you know what? Yeah, we ain't gonna do that. Keep it
right,
as long as you want. You just ain't gonna get another DVD until you return those. Fair enough. And then people like,
right.
wait, me ain't pay all these late fees? They didn't anticipate the shift, bro. So
They
again, this
didn't.
thing will work so well for us if we were innovative enough. Because what a warehousing system in the U.S. Virgin Islands would do for like a Kmart, what I would do for the U.S. but that's way more jobs, my boy. The plane them coming here. You remember now when you ordering from here, you know. So like you have to store all that shit here. When your orders getting placed, they pulling the shit from here and they're sending it to your house or wherever you get in 2 days, you get in a day overnight delivery. And the same thing for the rest of the Caribbean. You're ordering it from right, it coming from the USVA. Again, now that allows for us to now start making money and exporting goods. That's going to create way more jobs, dog, than one or two Kmarts with cashiers and one supervisor and one manager would ever create. We're not being innovative. And then you're punishing the consumer because these businesses ain't being innovative. You gotta be
Right.
innovative.
I agree. I agree. I would say that my argument was just based on where we are now, and I
Are
think
you
your
in
point
wrong,
was
Red?
based. No, no, you're right. No, you're absolutely right. Right. I was given a reason why they did what they did. You're giving a solution for them not to do what they're doing.
And still get
Right.
whiteys they intended to get by keeping the
Definitely.
small business in, which is the taxation. We could tax way more jobs if we teach these people how to be more innovative and make way more um, competitive in this market. You can't tell
Yeah.
somebody that could find a fan for $5 they should pay 25. Why are you doing that? That don't make no sense. Can't do that. You gotta teach that business how to become innovative so that they know would sell products that people here really need. You check?
Right.
That's what it
Right.
is. Bro, if I don't see, if I don't, it goes back to my water. Boy, I went off, I went in St. Croix dog the other day, driving my youth them, and we driving the whole stretch dog in Zion Farm, and they get people selling water on both sides of the street, my boy. Every 2 feet is some new person or some new um organization or old organization selling water. So I say the only problem in Trinco is a shortage of water. So
Mm,
everybody feel like this is the solution to their problems. Selling
mm,
water. What because you see one man went out there and sell water and he looked like he was making money. So now everybody going go sell water. Nobody being innovative. We were going to a soccer game, right? For my son And we left Zion Farm and we got to the soccer game. And they had maybe 5, 6 games there, right? 5, 6 games that were going to be played that day. Each team get 10, 11, 15 players. That's 10, 11, 15 moms and dads there to support them kids, my boy. A
Rank
shit ton of
country.
people. You know what we
Mm-hmm.
didn't find there?
Moms and dad don't shop in the Virgin Islands no more.
A whole lot of no
Nothing
man.
else.
You know what we didn't find at the soccer game? No water. If you
No
wasn't a
water.
part of the coach have water for his kids. But the people out like me, if I couldn't find water because the water in Zion Farm. I didn't get nothing going
Right.
on in Zion Farm. So how come are you anticipating that these soccer games and stuff are gonna need water? They get some Gatorade. Ain't had no where we were playing, where they were playing,
Mhm.
ain't had no
Right.
bleachers, ain't had no seatings. So I was
Right.
telling my son, no, hey, one thing, right? And another thing, like you just say, you gotta talk to the youth, them because the adults gonna do what the adults gonna do. I go talk to the adults. If you don't listen to what it is I say, use adults, that's your business. I tell my
Right.
son, I say, son, guy was cussing the whole way after I leave from Zion Farm watching them man have a shit ton of water sales. And I say, look at this
Right.
here, guys. Nobody here selling water. So we could come here and sell water. The problem when you come here and sell water, the word gonna get out, and half them people from Zion Farm that selling water will end up right here selling water too. So you need to sell something that not everybody else would have the same access to you to sell. So think a little bit deeper than water, dog. Look around. What do these people need here? Uh, does it have bleachers? No. Wait, again. Does it have bleachers? No. So I could sell them chairs. How about you rent them chairs?
Mm.
Yeah. So therefore, I could charge $3 for a chair, and then at the end of the day, I still going home with my chair, as opposed to paying them man, laying them pay me for a chair that I don't have access to no more. I could rent them chairs. Yeah. What else? He wiping the face talking to me. I could sell them fans. You see what will happen when you force people to think?
I'd
You
sell them water
become
too.
innovative.
Because I get it, they're gonna buy that water and the chair
And that's,
and the
I ain't say don't sell them water. I say
okay.
water can't
I
be
mean
the
that's
only thing you
the
sell
only
them.
thing.
You
Facts,
check?
facts.
You got to sell them other stuff. You check? So I
Right.
say, and then guess what? Today is soccer. Tomorrow is baseball. The next day is basketball. And
Right.
you got to be innovative. But the rest of the island is in Zion Farm right now selling water. Nobody here. So we got to be innovative, man. That's the message. Be innovative. Be innovative.
Right. And like I say, I feel like if we have people that we call leaders, governors, senators, I'm not saying the discussions that they're having is not discussions that need to be had, especially when it comes to budget, monetary stuff, and needs of the people. But I've yet to hear any of them talk from a tech perspective of how to modernize the Virgin Islands without losing the essence of paradise.
So that's a good point, right?
How do you modernize paradise?
I was talking to one of my partners, and I'm not interested in politics. And he was telling me he was talking to somebody within the government, and he was saying the issues aren't that they ain't thinking about these things, but the issues is for something to get passed, you have to go through 1,500 hands, right? You gotta get 7 senators to, you gotta get 14, 15 senators to see the same way as you see it. If it ain't something that going through the Senate system, they have to go through this commissioner, and then that commissioner have to sign off, and then after that commissioner sign off, you gotta go to another commission. So the process is a crazy long retarded process. So that's what a slow down a lot. So then now when you as a commissioner of water really, really, really motivated, but in order for this to get passed, they have to the commissioner of property and procurement got sign up and he dragging his foot. It'll just get to the point where it'll kill your motivation. That's not an excuse at all. I just explaining to you the process as to why it'll get so dragged out and why things so retarded from here, right? When you look at places that don't have this HIPAA process, this HIPAA these all this different stuff going on, they getting shit done. Got one person in charge. This who I put in charge, he in charge. Okay, what he says, what we gonna do? We don't have that.
Ah,
You could if the
o-
governor say do something, the senator them could say we ain't doing that. The senator them say,
okay.
let's do this. The governor could say, nah, we ain't doing that. So it's a retarded thing here, dog. That's not
Right.
an excuse. That's just giving a little backstory of the process. You need people that seeing the shit the same way and in it for the right reasons. And that's a whole different conversation. As far as your point where it comes to modernizing the islands, to figure out what it is the west of the world needs while keeping the place still specific to what brought the folks here. Because if we start clearing trees and knocking and just breaking up areas and putting up buildings, we could necessarily lose the essence of what a USVI is. It's supposed to be a paradise. But so how do we find that balance? I feel you, I feel you, I feel you, dog, I feel you. But how do
Miami
we find
have buildings everywhere.
yeah, I feel you.
So what I gonna say? I'm gonna say this here, right? I think people think that people that come to the Virgin Islands for trees,
Mm,
or they that come to the Virgin Islands for, and I would, I don't want to knock everything down. Leave about 5 trees up. Don't knock all of them down. We still need shit to put dominoes. I get it. My thing is people come for beaches, warm weather, and a shift from where they came from, which is cold north, or just when you live in Alabama in the north, you can't get to the beach. We live in Atlanta, you want to go to the beach, we can't get to the beach. We got to
yeah,
drive all the way to Savannah to get to the
yeah.
beach.
And then when
Tybee
we get to the
High
beach, that
to
beach
get to
don't
the
look like beach. Yeah.
and the beach don't look like beach. So most
Mhm.
people really come in. Paradise for them is not no longer look. They understand that the world is changing, and I am saying to you, I look. I had this vision, bro. It's like we don't have enough shaded areas, oasis type vibes in
Mhm.
the Virgin. Like when you go to a resort, it should feel cool and oasis type with palm
Yeah,
trees covered and
yeah,
lush. You see what I'm saying? So when I say
yeah,
modernized, it's like, all right, cool. You went and you pour up, you do a little wrong about, not the wrong about, you do the waterfront piece right there from the pump house, come to legislation, and it looks pretty.
yeah,
But it should have been loaded with more trees. It should
yeah,
have been loaded with more overgrowth. It should have feel modern. It should have feel different. It should have, and then okay, the pathways to walk, they're not modern. There's nothing
yeah.
techy about it. That's what I mean. You could still
Okay.
maintain pristine
Yeah,
viewing,
yeah, yeah,
but
yeah.
you just put concrete. You know what I'm saying? There's nothing
So,
interactive about it. There's nothing. You see
so
what I'm
what do you
saying?
say, Madon, right? You know what the problem is with Madon? Madon is Madon has to do with future. You have to be thinking future to think modern. If you in today now thinking modern, what's modern today? It's not gonna be modern tomorrow. So you have to
Right.
think ahead. You have to
Right.
see the world in which direction the world going in, what's happening, what people into, how you have to do market research and figure out. Listen, so people ain't really want to buy these trinkets here no more and these little keychain and thing. Our vendors ain't making no money. They can't pay no taxes. Vendors Plaza need to look different. How can we make Vendors Plaza look different? Maybe if we create a vibe within Vendors Plaza with a bunch of backdrops of the USVI and a bunch of picture activation stations that these people could come with their phones and their TikToks and their Instagrams, and it's instant advertising of the USVI when they stand in front of this pretty sign. Not they just I love the VI. No, we have to become real futuristic here and figure out what can we put, how can we make Venus Plaza look different from what it is. It take them 15, 20 years to put up them little thing. But guess what?
Huts.
Them little huts. But guess what? The people don't want to buy whatever in them huts. You check? The people I'm not doing good down there is the people I'm not selling the little knockoff them and the people I'm not that doing the hairs. But nobody, you can't
Right.
tell me you getting rich off of selling a St. Thomas t-shirt. So what
Right.
needs to change? Maybe we need to bring all them vendors in, sit them down and some business talks and figure out this, show them this is what the market is changing to and this is what's trending and this is how it's
Right.
shifting. You guys need to get caught up with the shift, guys. So now if we go in Vendors Plaza and there's a lot of QR codes and there's a lot of activation stations and there's a lot of different things that could change this experience from the old school experience that it is now to more of a modern experience, a more technically savvy experience, bro, you're going to secure the future of the travelers because now my son is 17. When he get his little
Right.
bread in 4 years, he is the new traveler. Not my
Right.
old ass that still want this old shit that been there. You have to entice and understand that it's going traveling gonna look different every year. So granted, yes, you're gonna still get the same cruise ships, airlines, and stuff coming here. They're gonna spend to come here, you know. They're gonna spend to come
Right.
here. Are they going to spend when they get here? What are you doing to make sure that they spend when they get here? What are you doing to make sure that this
True.
money stays within this economy? What are you doing to
True.
make sure that money circulates here? What are you equipping the people with so that they could have the education they need so that they could understand market trends, so they could understand the way that things are shifting, as opposed to prettying up vendors plaza and giving them a hut instead of a tarpaulin and a tent and patting yourself on the back and thinking you did something. Then people still can't sell their product. That was not the problem. The problem, oh,
Right.
you look ugly, you look run down. Yeah, yeah, yeah. That was part of the problem. So guess what happening now? Like, bro, you remember we used to walk home from school from Cancray?
Yeah.
We used
Mm-hmm.
to steal Oakley's from Joakley's from
Yeah.
Vendors Plaza. We used to take them, man.
Yeah.
You know why? I was so crowded, dog. It was so
Yeah.
much people in there. Were easy for us to pick up some shades, put them in our pocket, and bust off. You
Was
can't do
off.
that now. It's a ghost town, my
Yeah.
boy. It's
But
a
not we
ghost town.
don't implicate
I ain't
that. I have
condoling
enough.
people to steal from the vendors, guys. I just sharing my
Yeah,
story.
I have enough issues. Don't say we.
Yeah,
You
you used
own
to
that
distract
yours.
the African dude, so I could because I didn't look. You had looked more suspecting than I did. You see how they used to use me? You see how they used to use me and my innocence to go steal?
Hey, look, I wanted to touch on one more topic, but I ain't gonna do that. I'm gonna save it for next week. I
Yeah, yeah,
still
let's
think
save it.
it's gonna be relevant next week. It was
Yeah,
a
yeah, let's
great
save it.
conversation. I mean, we touched
Definitely.
on some stuff that wasn't on the docket, but it was important.
But
Um, guys, subscribe to Caribbean Currency and
like the page.
like the page on Facebook, like the page on Instagram, like the page on TikTok. Um, subscribe on YouTube. We have some more interviews coming. The other more interviews out right now on our YouTube channel at Caribbean Currency Podcast. So you can find us any place. We're trying to do these here once a week, just relevant conversations. We found that this one was relevant when it came to
Definitely.
taxes. It happened a while ago, but we still think that it's relevant. We're gonna try to speed up and catch up in real time to have conversations, not only about stuff that's going on in the voice, of course, President Trump and his tariffs and his plan and what we think and where they're going. So I urge you to subscribe to the YouTube. You can watch us on YouTube, you can watch us on Facebook, and you can watch us on Instagram. We're working on getting the TikTok up. We appreciate everybody for joining in live, everybody for sharing, everybody for being a part of the conversation. And I would encourage you to DM us on any one of these platforms
Yeah.
and
Any
give us
topics.
what you
Yep.
think that we should talk about or who you think that we should have on to have these conversations. The whole purpose of it is like me and Kala say all the time, community awareness drive community conversation drives community action. And we want to be actionable people because I just like Kyle, I get frustrated. I don't like complaining. I don't like pointing fingers. I don't like saying it's the government fault. I don't like saying it's Brian fault. I don't like that stuff because we can't consider ourselves to be the people who elect people and have the power and then blame people. We
Facts.
have the power. So we
Facts.
can't be blaming nobody. Either
Facts.
we get our shit together before we start to vote again, and then when we vote again, we vote with an understanding and knowledge and a direction that we want to go in, and we have to form coalitions. We don't have to agree on everything. We don't even have to like each other personally. But we have to love our children, we have to love our home, and we have to love the future that we want ahead of us. And this should be enough for us to see past certain things to create communities of engagement, and progress that drives change.
Big facts. You said it well. You've said it as good as anyone could say it. I feel like I ramble a lot. Um, but these conversations are important because hopefully somebody watching that maybe had a struggling business, maybe had lost hope on how they could attain home ownership here. Hopefully we touch them and they could understand what's going on and they could position themselves to succeed in the future. So that's what the purpose of the currency exchange is. We just exchanging currency and just keeping these topics relevant, keeping them moving, just touching on relevant topics and giving out the gems that you need, man. Real talk. Again,
All
guys,
right,
like,
and
share, and subscribe. Go on this page, go on wherever you're watching it right now. If you're on IG watching it, or you're on Facebook watching it, or you're on YouTube, make sure you like the page, subscribe to the page, because therefore that's how you can get notifications that we are live when we can share that we live, and then that's gonna be good for our engagement so that we could continue getting out this good, amazing content. And that's all we have for now, for tonight. We'll see you next week with way more relevant topics and way more. We're gonna keep the conversation going. And again, like Redman say, hit us up with whatever topics that you think that we should be covering. That we are community, one community, and we're gonna just keep this thing rolling. And on that note, guys, we're gonna see you next week. Caribbean currency exchange. Peace.
peace.